Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 3 in this best of 3 series between Strelok and GosWser. Game 3 from the Zotac Cup. Once again, thanks for releasing these replays, Zotac, giving credit where credit is due. If you don't know what Zotac is, I believe they make video cards and motherboards. Actually, I know they do because I've actually seen them as sponsors for SoCal eSport events as well. I'm no way paid by them. I just want to, give shout outs to people who are sponsoring esports and making my life a little bit easier. GosWser spawning as the red Zerg on the top right hand side of the map. Strelok spawning as the blue Terran on the bottom left. So top right, bottom left, this is Daybreak, a map that is generally, or in my opinion, generally favors Zerg a bit. That third base is rather far away, and it's very, very easy for a Zerg to take. So it's not unheard of for Zerg players to get up onto 3 bases by the 6-minute mark. Now, with the upcoming potential nerf to Hellbats, it will be much more difficult for Zerg players or for Terran players to try and shut down that quick third. So I am interested to see how the metagame develops. We now know that there's going to be a much more focus on Banshee harassment, as cloaking has gone from 200 gas to down to 100 gas. So it is actually possible to go 2-port Banshee and get cloak. That would be extremely, extremely effective, as that's just one of the problems from before, trying to go 2-port Banshee and also get cloak and try to keep up that constant production. Nearly impossible, as we see GosWser now getting down this spawning pool. For those of you guys who are going to be attending BlizzCon this year, 2013, please make sure to follow me on Twitter or Facebook. I will be at the event as well, tweeting my whereabouts, giving my impressions on all of the panels, and would love to meet you if you guys are at the event. Meanwhile, we can see that Strelok is coming in. He is going for a 1-Rax gasless expand, and with this gasless expand, this means that he's much more focused on economy. I am a little bit surprised by this because he's not going to be able to harass the Zerg player at all. We now see the double refinery coming into play, but this is still going to be a significant delay to the factory and also reactor Hellions. With that delay, all we can really hope to see from GosWser is perhaps him throwing down a fast hatchery here, and if he can get up on 3 bases with a lot of queens, he will be pretty much golden. 19 drones to 17 SCVs. Mules are still being called in, as we do have 1 orbital command ready. 2nd orbital command should be started in about 20 seconds or so, as Strelok really starting to bunker down at this front door. Double queens now being trained, and it looks like we are going to be going into 3 queen train, not the typical 4. So far, GosWser has really been favoring 3 queens instead of 4, and I'm not quite sure why this is the case, but perhaps he feels comfortable enough again. Nope, I take it back. He is going to be going for 4 queens. All right, all of this without gas, and he is going for 4 queens, so I am wondering when he's going to be taking this extra hatchery. Sometime at the 6-minute to 6-minute 30-second mark is pretty standard. We are going to see those spawn larva injects completing just now, as GosWser should be placing down additional creep tumors to try and connect this 3rd base. Extractors now coming into play. It is not for the extractor trick, as GosWser is going on to 3 gas. I would really like to tell you what Strelok is doing right now, or excuse me, GosWser is doing right now, but I am still scratching my head a bit. It feels like he's going into very, very heavy tech with 3 gas all of a sudden, but he's also trying to expand and get up his 3rd base. This is a little bit of an apparent contradiction, as he is losing a couple of early drones, so he may not have enough minerals in order to saturate this 3rd that quickly. Are we going to see a quick tech to tier 2? That is also going to be a very, very important follow-up, as we are looking at GosWser floating a fair amount of gas. Coming back around, the Hellions will be trying to put their pressure onto this 3rd base, but it will not get taken down as Hellions simply do not have enough DPS to take down a building while it's being constructed. All right, 4 Hellions going to try to test that water. Is heading up the ramp. Oh, a very, very smart move there. Knowing that there was a creep tumor there, actually moved off to the side a bit and then attacked the debris to get splash damage in. It's one of those very, very minor tricks that high-level players do. It does slow down that creep spread, and we all know that movement is so critical in any fight, as we are now going to be going into a drop. All right, Widow Mine's going to be dropping straight up inside the main. Is it going to deal damage, or is the Queen going to be able to respond in time? There goes the Widow Mines, and this is going to be a potential problem as the one drone going to get taken down there. A second Widow Mine now coming in as well. There goes another drone, and this is going to be a problem. The Spore Crawlers only take 30 seconds to in order to be built, though, so that will get spotted and pushed away. Meanwhile, 4 Hellions now trying to test the waters at this third. Not enough units there, really, as we are getting more and more drones. This medevac will be pushed back. The Widow Mine really wanted to deal more damage. GosWser pretty much thinking to himself, you know what? I can afford to lose 1 drone or 2 drones to really stop this attack. You actually will end up losing more in total resources, as the Hellions are trying to stop all of this creep tumor spread and doing a very, very good job. We are going to be going up onto 3 bases here we are already up at 3 bases. We can see the 3rd orbital command now up and running for Strelok, and he is going to call down a mule and then perhaps move here to the 9 o'clock expansion location. Who has the larger army? Army supplies are about the same, but the worker supply for GosWser, 17 additional workers, giving him a significant economic advantage, especially considering that we are running on 3 bases for GosWser, while Strelok is still slightly oversaturated, or is he oversaturated? I guess slightly oversaturated here on 2. Now that GosWser feels comfortable, he's getting this creep tumor spread out across the map. He knows where his opponent will be coming in, and he wants to try and intercept them. 4 Hellions, and now looking to make a bit of a drop. And this is one of those plays that you kind of wonder about. Would Hellions or Hellbats be more effective? With what we've seen from GosWser responding with drones running away relatively quickly, the Hellions are actually much, much better, as the Hellions can do hit and run tactics against all of these units. Meanwhile, we are going into double Thors. Medevac now needs to perhaps use those afterburners. It is going to be able to get away in time, as the Hellions are outrunning those Mutalisks. The Medevac, however, needs to book it home. Is there enough gas in the tank in order to get it away? It looks like there are a couple of Vikings. There is a Widow Mine hit there, dealing a good amount of damage, and now looking to perhaps clean up. Vikings now being brought over. Missile turret is going to be completed here in just a moment. It looks as though, yes, 1 Mutalisk is taken down, as we're now looking at what the follow-up play will be from both sides. High-sec auto-tracking now coming in. Meanwhile, GosWser getting Enduring Locusts on his Swarm host. Locust will be dealing a lot of damage, and Locust is actually extremely efficient against Thors. They're very, very long range, coupled with the relative slow attack rate of Thors, means that some Locusts should be able to make their way through and get some damage. Here we go. High-sec auto-tracking about to be completed. That means that the missile turrets will be having a range of 8. If that doesn't sound like a lot, that is 1 less range than a Colossus with extended thermal lance range. That is extremely far, especially considering when Mutalisks really need to do hit and runs. I do believe that's an extra round or 2 of attacks. Let's take a look at the Swarm host now making their way in. That is 8 Swarm hosts ready to go. They are going to burrow themselves. An added benefit of the Enduring Locust is that they have a much, much further range. You can see how much damage is being absorbed here, as the Locusts are just going to be trading very, very efficiently there. The Widow Mine gets off a shot, And now we see another round of attack again. This is just going to start pushing away and whittling away at this front door. The Hellbat trying to fend off this attack, loses another unit there. The Locusts quickly get destroyed again, and all they need to do is just move into this position and then start attacking, letting some of the siege tanks do extra damage. With an expansion over here on the bottom right, Queen and Spinecrawler should be able to do enough here to really stop this drop from really doing that much damage. Worker kill count only up or already at the 7, as the Spinecrawler is still poking away once more. All right, there you go. More and more Locusts now making their way in. Siege tanks are blasting this all back. Is this Widow Mine going to get taken down? It looks like it will. Yes, it does go down there. And this is still just taking a bit of a toll as more and more Locusts are being added to this attack force. 20 Locusts still pushing through. Meanwhile, Hellions quickly getting destroyed here. And oh, if GosWser uses Blinding Cloud at the same time, that is going to be damaging, as we now see all of the swarm hosts need to get away. You can see that as soon as the Raven was spotted, the swarm hosts were quickly retreating to make sure that they didn't get destroyed. So far, the debris will get cleaned up. Swarm hosts now making their way forward again. Just a little bit of a chain line there, as the swarm hosts are going to burrow themselves, make their units, and then pull back. All right, here you go. Are we going to perhaps see some abducts and some key units? Blinding Cloud. Thors now just getting destroyed here. 2 Thors already taken down as the abducts doing their job, and we may see even more. All right, are we going to perhaps see more Blinding Cloud? The Corruptors going after the Vikings instead. There are some more abducts again. The siege tanks being brought a bit too close. And are they going to try to unsiege in time? All right, the Corruptors are still looking to engage. You can see the swarm hosts are now making their way forward with more and more damaging attacks. Roach is now coming in from the side as well. GosWser at 172 versus Strelok's 162. And there you have it, another round of units coming in, as GosWser is backing off with those very expensive swarm hosts. We can see 5 bases compared to 4 right now, but only 3 of the bases are really mining, as the creep tumor off over here may be preventing this command center from landing. So far, what is happening next? GosWser needs to get this base saturated. You can see more evolution chambers coming in. That means more Viper usage in just a moment, as we should be seeing more and more swarm hosts being brought forth again. Siege tanks are upgraded to 1, as we are now looking at the swarm hosts trying to pick apart here. Oh, Corruptors coming in. A Raven going to get taken down here rather quickly, as we can see that the high impact cannons are not swapped over. That means more splash damage but less damage per attack. The Vikings are going to get cleared up here. And are we going to perhaps see some abductions? Yes, there you go. 1 Thor abducted rather quickly. There it goes down. We could see some more abductions, as the swarm hosts are now pulling through together. This abduct swarm host tactic is very effective, as you really only are endangering your Vipers at any given time. All right, let's see what's going to be happening next. The command center, gonna get lifted off here, as more and more SCVs going to get taken down. It looks as though Strelok is trying to come in for a counterattack. 2-2 or 2-1 upgrades, soon to be 3-1 upgrades, as we're now going into level 1 weapons upgrades on air units. Oh, beautiful Blinding Clouds. So many siege tanks unable to attack back at all, as the Thors are going to get cleaned up here. The siege tanks are now unsieging to try and get away, but there's no real reason to attack, as the units are going to be pushing through again. Let's see. Siege tanks now trying to come back in. The Corruptors are going to be pushing through, now trying to make their way in again, as the siege tanks will clean up the bottom right-hand side of the map. Vikings now pushing in again. 1 expansion will get lost, but all of these swarm hosts are moving so quickly because of the very effective creep spread. Corruptors are now coming in as well. The swarm hosts, Locusts, are just completely taking this down. And apparently Strelok is having some personal issues, having to leave the game. But it looks as though GosWser did have a pretty clear advantage. The number of swarm hosts, Strelok didn't have a real answer for it. He was also down in income, unable to mine from this space all that much, even though this expansion was taken down. I do believe that this game was a little bit too close to call completely, but hats off to GosWser for taking this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the series.